When we talk about the basic shapes, we mentioned before, the cube, the cylinder, the cone, and the sphere. We're going to start with the cube. Now, you've been drawing perspective, so you understand how perspective works. And so now we're going to draw the cube. And if you were here sitting in the classroom, we have tiers of different heights. You might be on a stool, you might be on a chair. But most of your horizon lines would be fairly low compared to the table where all the shapes are. And so you're not going to see a lot of the tops of the objects. One of the biggest problems that students have is they'll go to draw the cube and I see this type of shape, and it looks like the cube is really tilted up. You're not going to see that much of the surface of the top of the cube. What you're going to see is most likely going to be something that would look more like that for the top. Okay, and chances are it might be a lot flatter, maybe more like this. That's more likely that it'd be something like that. So, what we're going to do is the first thing you would look at the cube and decide, well, how is it facing? Is it mostly one point perspective where you're looking almost totally at the front of the box? Or are you looking at a corner of the box where you can see both sides going away from you? Okay, and so I'm going to assume that it's going to be more like this. Now the box, the cube, is actually the same dimensions on all sides. And so that makes it easy in figuring out how to draw it. So the first thing I would do is I would draw the front corner. And then one of the things that you can do if you're sitting in a classroom, you can actually take your pencil and you can hold it up and hold it level and then just tilt it up a little bit until you're in line with the corners to the edge. And that kind of gives you an idea of how flat everything is. So chances are it's not going to have a lot of tilt to it. So now there's a good chance that you're going to be looking at one surface more than the other surface. And so this will be a little bit longer. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this, and these two sides are parallel, so I want to move this up, but because it's in perspective, I'll drop it down just a hair, because these two lines are going to the same vanishing point. Same thing over here. This back side and this side are parallel to each other. So I will put my triangle on that, bring it up, and then flatten it out. Oops. Flatten it out a little bit for perspective. Okay. And that's going to be my top. Now, same thing here. This edge and this edge down here are parallel. So I'm going to come down here, but since these are going to the same vanishing point, I'll bring this up just a little bit. And then over here, same thing. When it comes, line that up, come straight down. I'll tilt it up just slightly for perspective. Okay, now that you've drawn your cube, you have to figure out where your light source is coming from. And we have our light source coming diagonally, slightly from the front. So that's our light source. And so what's going to happen is this is in the light, and so it's going to be fairly white. The top is fairly white. This part here is going to be a little darker. So we're going to shade this in. Now, if the cube was in space, this would all be the same color. But because it's sitting on a surface, you've got light that's going to come and bounce off of that and back up. And so what happens is this area in here starts to lighten up. Okay? And so the darkest part of this side is probably going to be this back corner here. The other thing that's going to happen is where the shadow, or where the light passes, you're going to have a cast shadow. So that cast shadow is going to come from here, it's going to come from here, and down here. So chances are it's going to be here, and then it'll show a little bit of that top there too. And that's going to be your cast shadow. And the cast shadow, the darkest part is not going to be here because of things bouncing off of this and everything, light bouncing off. So it's going to be darker back here and lighten up slightly as it gets closer to the object. A good rule of thumb, of course, is look at it and then draw what you see.